Welcome to the Hidden Treasure.
That's great.
This is Captain Maris.
This is good enough.
It's the first time this is here, on the couch, together.
Uh-huh.
Awesome.
So,
Circuit Dream.
Circuit 3. Changing stories.
Evolving stories, shifting paradigms, playing with symbols, words, smithery. You're quite a wordsmith, I heard.
Hmm.
Remember yesterday you saying that you have sometimes trouble putting your words out there because you weigh them so much that to accept. Mm, especially the ADHD setup that people, uh, I notice a tendency that words to come out very fast, faster than actually to think about what you're saying, filter that to some extent.
So, it seems to be sometimes mistaken. Yeah. Who cares?
Oh yeah, so let's talk about intelligence. That's a juicy topic because usually
Mm-hmm.
what people hey, what people consider intelligence
Mhm.
is a lot what is circuitry intelligence, right? Verbal intelligence, logical intelligence, narrative intelligence, mathematical intelligence, all of that, which gets usually measured by IQ in this model, is mostly circuitry intelligence, which also gives us a notion of how much biased our culture is towards developing circuitry intelligence at the expense of developing all other types of circuits that this model maps.
Mm. Yeah, sure. I mean, the math making, let's explain. Certainly one approach. There's some people who are very intelligent at that. Well,
And often sometimes lack intelligence in some other of the realms that we're exploring.
yeah, I feel like it's in terms of like how I would. So one of the quests for Circuit 3 is like, uh, how do you define success? Was that
That's a
too?
good sequence.
Okay, yeah. But I feel like for my idea of what a successful life is, I feel like um, I would say that the most intelligent people I know are also the most successfully living.
Hmm. What is your idea of successful life?
But at least there's some kind of sense of self-consistent, real fulfillment. So,
You're walking up. It's you with like ties us back to our conversation on Audacity. So they're mostly unencumbered by the rules and conventions made by others. No,
That's not a guarantee for success. Like daring to do and
Mm.
manage it. Well, that's thing. Stop it. So what to why not get uh, stumbled into uh, a form of success?
Oh, yeah, well, you're entering a new chapter, a new
Mhm.
story is beginning in your life.
Yes.
Uh, have you found the taglines for that new chapter yet?
No.
The page blank, that's it. Submerge.
Yes.
He's answering in German. He's in Germany. The new chapter of his life starts in Germany.
It seems that way. It seems. Sure.
Sure.
So, Reverend John Harris is here.
Hello, Reverend.
Yeah, we have a
But I'm curious. I mean, I've known you for a bit, and it seems congruent to your personality to not want to put a tagline on the next chapter of your
course not.
story. You're more of like a dive into the unknown and just go with
Yeah.
the merge kind of guy.
Mhm.
That's the vibe I get from you.
Nothing to declare. I have nothing to declare.
Like, it's so strange for me. I'm more when it comes to circuitry practices as a magician, more as like, okay, claim authorship over your story kind of bit. I you know about this guy Grant Morrison that wrote The Invisibles? It's a comic book, sort of a mm, meta sigil in a way. That he designed a character that looks like him a lot, and then he started like writing out the story, and then these things he wrote and the story started happening in his real life. So there seems to be a power to that story living, story creation, that you can reclaim some form of like penmanship and authorship on how your story unfolds.
Yeah.
But you're not. It's not right.
Could be funny if this. It could if that. That
Okay, yeah. Well,
describe stuff I'm open for. The things that sound like fun.
it's things that sound like fun. Yeah. Okay. That there's a recurring theme emerging here from me from the conversation of last night, because you also said something like, uh, yeah. It seems like that is a kind of you. You said you didn't want to put a label on it or make plans. You're not much of a planner because you have had consistently the experience that things turn out more interesting if you don't plan. Like,
God is a better storyteller.
so they're more interesting and more funny. Like, okay, the interesting thing you leave up to God, and you make an invitation from things that you would find funny.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm
Like,
up for this. I'll be up for this.
like amuse me.
But it's like, it's like if there's room in the script for this, this, and this, I wouldn't mind. But yeah, I'm
So what are you inviting in your life in this new chapter? What wouldn't you mind to happen? Hmm? Well, that's not fun.
No, it's good. Never tell your plans.
That you don't make plans. Just making invitations.
Exactly.
Why would you not share your invitations? Because then they're not they're what do you think you would spoil it?
That's because you seem to be trying to have it not happen. Okay. But you were trying to manifest this.
You're just doing invitations.
Yeah.
Like even if you just frame it like that, making invitations, not really trying. Yeah.
It's also because I feel like I'm rediscovering what it is that I eat. And yeah, that's invest in making requests about what I think.
Mm, fair enough, yeah. Just coming out of some major underworld transformation, ripping yourself apart,
Well, almost.
reclaiming parts.
It definitely seems like my personality is shifting, adapting, and I'm yeah, kind of getting to know myself again.
Which is such a nuance in the personal.
Just something I feel like less attached to the outcome, especially in having a need for people to like me, or a need for. I feel like my sense of safety no longer depends on satisfying perceived, like my perceived expectations of others along what I think is being expected. Notice that is not giving me the anxiety that I thought it. Yeah, I'm really getting to enjoy. It's like in a way I'm getting my playfulness back because it's but it just feels like I have one more.
Experiment with yourself to allow yourself to lean into your edges.
I'm just feeling more and more like it's okay stick to my guns.
Mm. When you say surrender, it's a little bit back into the Circuit 2 territory discussion we had 2 weeks ago on Circuit 2. Where it's about dominion and submission. And then we have these other two terms, surrender and yielding. Curious, I've been hung up a little bit in a mind loop around yielding. Because we threw that word in, but we did not really explore the meaning or the semantic context of what we did. So maybe we can pick that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so it's like surrender is like in a way like surrender's still so there's even though there's just like giving up. And like surrender isn't quite that, but surrender is more like giving in. And yielding has overlaps with that meaning, but it's having like adapting a flexible stance. Yes.
Yesterday said like out of the rip there was this point of the point of life is surrender. Like surrender to the currents of life, which I think you're quite an adept at playing life like that. Just surrender to the mystery, surrender to the synchronicities, let yourself be invited and carried and go. And this is like in my mind map. I think a lot of like between a Circuit 5 and a Circuit 7 feature in some way. Circuit 7 in a sense of like surrendering to the mystery and the flow of cosmic or the cosmic joke as well. And Circuit 5 in the sense of surrendering to the flow of life. Whereas my whole philosophy of chaos surfing is more based on like you have agency, right? That the flow would just take you whenever you have decisions on like are you gonna take the wave, or are you gonna go under, are you gonna lean to the left or to the right of the wave? It's like claim the bits of agency you have while riding the wild currents of life. And then Circuit 2, dominion or submission, where we brought in yielding as a third option, has to do with sovereignty, right? It's like, am I submitting to somebody else's authority, or am I even like exerting dominion over someone else's sovereignty? And when I was talking to ChatGPT about that, about yielding in that context, it's that like yielding is a way to like giving in to if there's a dominant force rolling in, there is a giving in, but it includes maintaining sovereignty, maintaining your spines, like a bit like with chaos surfing, like rolling with the waves, or at this moment seeing like, okay, I kind of surf the wave, maybe I go under the wave.
Yeah. Bowing out of the pond.
And kind of like finding a way to, yeah.
I mean, sometimes unfortunately, I just make it up in the spot. So right now I'm like, what did he mean by yielding versus surrender? And like, and in a way, I feel like it would. Do I have to sit here and like defend my best self?
We're doing it so it's be exercise.
Out of no, but in a way, I'm like out of a sense of like loyalty or pride or consistency. Like, you know what? No. I said today that I really no. I enjoy not having to surrender.
What?
not having to surrender. Like not surrendering to other people's expectations or worldviews or momentary, like, indeed, dominion needs, because I don't feel the need to feel safe that way, like feeling safe by giving.
Just like the people pleaser pattern a lot.
Yeah.
Scary, right? Saying that we like
Yeah,
to
and I
feel
really
liked
never
and to
anymore.
feel safe. We give in to other people's demand to play the funny monkey, to make them feel safe around us, so they don't feel threatened, and we try to keep them happy.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's not fair to me.
Hmm.
It's like undermining my sense of self. You know, sense of self. I'm sovereignty. You don't have the leg to stand on. I'll be yourself.
And you don't have really self to give to others, right?
Exactly.
With like just shaping yourself into whichever form.
Yeah. And you're just whole. You're just a whole. It's a shell. It's a shell day. Love it. Life's too short.
You're living in the shell.
Yeah, way too much fun. There's much too much fun to be had.
And I think it's also more fun as we're navigating now with the Pipilota into the Circuit 4 territory. In terms of so related,
Yeah.
we show up as ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Because I love this teams.
Finding the others.
I think, yeah.
It's a chance, like,
The cruise. And if I'm not, that's why it's good to you first. Yeah, here. That's why. The ability to be present depends too. You don't need circuit 3 to be present. You can have presence and not know what's going on. It's easier. You're not like,
it's easier to be present if we're not stuck in mind.
all, yeah.
Sure. A lot of taking ourselves out of presence, I think, has to do with like spending time in Circuit 3 territory and in stories, in loops about the past and loops about the future. And then you're not present, right? Like Antero Adi used to say, or like one of the things that stuck with me in his writing was that it's not like the body is always in.
Mm-hmm.
So like cultivating presence is a lot about embodiment, about like landing back. You're losing your mind and landing in your senses, coming to your senses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
To be like
senses.
more aware of what's happening in the immediate surrounding in your body and around your body. Breath, going back to breath.
And actually, I have it in Dutch. It's kom bij zinnen.
Mm.
And zinnen is sentences.
Mm.
Not just sentences, but also sentences. So I had this on one of my books. I started with kom bij zinnen. So I use language, bringing back in breath. I do. Because I write. It's like, yeah, I need to write.
But that's not the same as breath. Yeah,
Pressure.
writing, interesting. Writing and words and like, sure, it's the so those tools we use to make sense, and making sense creates coherence in our experience, thus keeping us sane. And interesting, yesterday in the call, Foxcow was sharing as well that actually writing the stuff down is like creating space in your mind, because when you create like this linear coherence that you need to formulate sentences to spell the things out, then the noise of the thoughts that are wandering non-linearly in your brain and bouncing forth and back sort of they flow into coherence.
Yeah, they calm down. So I think it's that needing coherence. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Legal sovereignty, safety, emotional regulation.
And your capacity to create coherence with words and to make yourself understood.
Your ability to make sense of the world around you.
And to create shared sense making. Like for community, you need to create shared sense making, and I think, yeah, we have some challenges in that department nowadays, because sense making has splittered, like in some previous.
Yeah, there's been a war of sense. Right, and it has
reality, the reality tunnels have become more splintered in a way as well, with the advancement of social media, with the loss of meta narratives that sort of like bind the sense making across communities and across culture. We get spilled more into echo chambers, and our very own individually curated reality tunnels more and more. I think that's one of the things.
Yeah, moved down from echo chambers.
You present. I don't know. So, in case you in the audience are not familiar with the concept of reality tunnels, this concept is a classic from Robert Anton Wilson to describe the individual configuration of reality that is computed from our brain based on our perceptions and our projections and past experience and the models of reality.
I think people are very ill with reality tunnels because customized algorithm feed scrolling is literally a reality tunnel, but it's a prescribed one. That's the 40% of the custom reality. So it's, I want to break out of this. So what am I breaking out of? Breaking out of the spell of living in the city. That's definitely one that's shattered. And regularly. Where I put my roots. I'm looking forward to that to that a lot. I feel like because now I'm still hopping from one city to another. But ready to go. That's one thing that's shifting my personality. Need to keep up the appearance. Need to keep up the. I'm really looking forward to dropping it because I want to be honest with myself. So that not because I like being, because I want to be able to write.
Trying to keep up still that keeps you from writing.
No, well, once that like before, what makes the act required is that that I haven't fully adjusted to or haven't fully manifested the autonomy that I can. That's one thing I'm saying. Hard to take it out. Yeah, yeah. I've been too much of a social creature.
And so you're entering your hermit state, and I'm shifting my story from getting out of the hermit state.
If that's how you want, that's if that's how you see it. I mean, yeah, I'm going a little because I want to be away from people, be closer to myself.
Mm-hmm. It's an invitation of the hermit. Go a bit into social seclusion so you can find yourself, find your light, um, work through your shadows. Well, different also.
Well, I think also if people can rely on me to be myself, I think that's more important than that people can rely on me to please them.
Mm-hmm.
Because my I would rather have my feedback be worth something. Yeah. Also, that's much more useful. I find it much more useful in others. If I can count on them pulling their own ground and not humoring me. Because what if I ask for feedback on somebody who's a sycophant? They're gonna tell me, you know, they're gonna tell me, yeah, that's great, awesome, when I'm actually about to do something stupid.
Hmm.
But they would never tell me because they're in the business of pleasing me and not in the business of having an awareness, being present, you know, having your own discernment.
Mm. Well, I do appreciate that.
Yeah, I feel like my feedback, though, and the reason that it's worth something is because I'm cultivating discernment and autonomy. So I feel like I want that. I like making sense. Notice the myriad ways where we try to convince ourselves that what we're doing is sense making, but really what we're doing is ego defense, wishful thinking, bullshitting.
Yeah, stories are good booking. Stories are good booking mechanism. Use stories across the times to cope with whatever disastrous, incoherent experiences of reality we have. Stories help us get back to some sense of coherence and sanity and sense making, but ultimately never go back.
Yeah, like it's like expression of the collective urge to do the same, to arrive at some sense of safety through sense of reality.
There's a quote of Robert Anton Wilson said, like, human beings live in their myths, they only endure their reality.
Yeah. And I don't want to be in it. If I'm going to live in this, or if I'm just choose them and not mistaken for it. I mean, I feel like it will be fun, and I'm open to living mystical reality. Like, and I think there's a sense there's legend. And this is in the living your personal legend.
Yeah.
Feel strong calls.
Yeah. Which takes me back to is like taking authorship of your own life. It's about scripting your own legends, right? And living your living legends.
Yeah, but maybe to discover my legend. I think it's that's just me. I'm not saying.
That's what the Kuberts.
Yeah, but for me, it's right for me.
Yeah, fair enough.
So it's fine. Yeah.
Mm.
But many stories that have been or had been stuck in repeating cycles of repeating and breaking. There's chat.
So like,
Don't, there's no chat.
what's chatting?
Nobody's here.
Nobody's watching today.
Nobody's watching. It's nice weather. I think people aren't here. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. We did our jobs. We're showing up to do it.
We're showing up to do it.
Yeah.
So, what time is what? We started a bit late.
Yeah, it's 2023.
So let's find a way to close.
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember you calling me out in a conversation a few weeks back, saying that something, yeah, but you like this rating your legend thing.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like a critique of that. And I do think indeed that in the last years, this whole, and we talked about yesterday as well, this whole crafting a persona of the pirate captain of the Pipilota and crafting a myth around this pirate ship that exists in the imagination of the crews and thus in the noosphere and the astral. taking people on this like mythopoetic journeys of self-discovering that is quite a crafted legend, but at the same time it was emergent in a way. Like the bits and bytes of the story emerged along the way. It's not that it has been completely pre-drafted and pre-crafted.
No.
I don't know, now I remember the context of that. It's like, I think I was complaining that there was a spot of shame around one of the crewmates saying that I'm such a legend. And that they felt that me being in a circle and sharing myself, crying, tears and showing emotion made me more human because I'm such a legend, and I felt a bit like shame around that being perceived as a legend, and then you're like, yeah, but you're making such an effort to create a legend out of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's where you commit to the bit, and the bit bites back.
Yeah. And you know, legend, but yeah, but that's good because it's true. It's like, no, it's not about becoming a legend. I think, yeah, living your legend is the most human thing too, and it is audacious, and it is an act of faith.
How is that?
It's not always necessarily safe. The way, it's not people. Do it, it's very safe. Break the convention. Work towards the expectation. Going all in on yourself.
Going all in yourself towards this.
Then, once you go back to the, you need to have emotional sovereignty in order to be at a place where you can make that choice.
Mm-hmm.
Then, when you are on the path of your own personal legend, that's when you can meet the rest. That's when you can find the others. Tune in, turn on. Especially. Yeah.
Let's play with those words since we're in Sacred 4.
Yeah.
Like tuning in
Mm-hmm.
has to do with attunement,
Mm-hmm.
right? Attunement to yourself, attunement to what's going on with you, within you,
Mm-hmm.
attunement to your surrounding, attunement to your senses.
Mm-hmm.
Tuning in, like, even into, like, also for surfing, right? You need some tuning in. You need to, like, be tuned into what's going on with you and what's going on with the sea.
With the proprioception.
Proprioception, interoception, exteroception, that's all part of tuning into the inside, tuning into the outside.
So it's awareness.
Tuning into the vibe, right?
Presence and awareness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Turn on.
Turn on.
Like, commit to the bit. Choose to get in it, be in it.
Okay, that's interesting that I had not associated that with turn on. For me, the turn on was more like this neurosomatic state of like, turning on into like being alive and following the passion, following what like makes you feel alive in a very embodied sense, that which like sparks your
Yeah, but I think also
sass.
maintaining it as a
Show up online,
like
like be online.
yeah, be in it
Mm.
in order to find the other, or that's how you find the other.
That, but yeah, by turning on your frequency, your frequency, and transmitting that. And then like the drop out part referred a lot rather like, I mean, we're
Stop living in the legacy paradigm.
in the legacy paradigm and the social convention. I mean, when Leary spoke those words, we're having this shift from the normal social programming of the 50s, which wasn't that normal actually. Like this 50s concept that created this like women stay at home and men go to work at some cubicles, and the unit family of mom, dad, kid living in a suburban home. That was an invention of the fucking 50s.
Yeah,
That has not been the standard model of creating relationship, community, and family for ever.
It didn't work then.
It was actually an aberration from the norm.
Yeah.
And what an aberration from our actual human condition, our actual needs.
Yeah. Now also.
What do we need to drop out of?
Yeah, this whole society is we need to drop out of pretending that this is normal, pretending that we're the weird ones, or wanting something else.
So this gets us back to something I think we talked about a bit earlier in some episode, like this claiming of the edge, when we're talking about the wandering circus.
Yeah, I mean the center cannot hold. So and it's not holding. And really what's needed, that everybody needs somewhere else to go. Get on it. I like this.
To all you beautiful edge dwellers out there that have felt the pain of not belonging to the bigger social game, this is a call. This is a call to claim your edge, to tune in to what's actually happening, to tune in what's actually alive in you. Turn on your beautiful frequency. It's like drop the act, drop out of the social game. Because the Civilization Confederation is based on death cult. And it's gonna get us extinct if we continue playing that game. And once you drop out and turn on or drop out, you can find the others. And this is a bit of a mission right here, right now, with this podcast as well. We're tuning out, tuning out your frequency.
Sending out the frequency. Yeah.
So we can
find.
So the others can find us. So quest for you, dear homework, the quest for the audience. For once, yeah, what story are you living? Is it yours? Are you creating?
Yeah, I thought of it was today for this circuit. If only if only writing. Write something and start with if only something. If only I had this or that. If only I could do that. If only I was something. Then I would something else. Yeah. With whom would you do that? For what reason would you do that?
What does this quest do? I have there's some meaning to building. I think it's also like, what does it give?
It gives awareness. It's a way to sidestep your perceived limits to see what it is that you actually want. It's for discovering.
Hmm. Another quest you can do for circuitry is also interesting: word fasting. Word fasting. Like spend a day, 2 days, 3 days, however long you can permit yourself to lose, experiment for, not talking and not taking in any verbal content either. Means like no movies, no podcasts, no reading the papers.
Yes. Started wow, amazing.
I pulled it off for like 3 days the first time I did this course with Imperial Ali,
Mm.
and it felt so blissful. And the third day, it's like not having to interact also with anyone speaking, just like being for myself. I spent a lot of times like think, looking at the ceiling, staring, and I did feel like my thoughts would also, after a while, calm down. There was a sense of peace within me, because I think that is, I mean, and my brain is very addict to information and input and output. I think that is a condition that most of us share in this like weird age, like
Something like the stories.
the constant input of information, and there's an information overload because we can't even digest it, right? We're not doing the integration. We're not taking time to integrate all the information.
Yes. You just compost. Yeah.
It's just not a lot of noise. We don't have good filters to filter out signal from noise when we don't have enough spaciousness to actually create those filters, to actually integrate, to actually take the time to rearrange the information in our head before we start talking about it. And that's a thing I've noticed. And I think when somebody asked me the other day, like, oh, have you read this or that book, or what books are you reading? It's like, actually, I'm not reading that many books nowadays because I feel like I went like pretty deep into this 8-circuit brain model stuff, and I'm still in the process of digesting that all, integrating that all, and integrating it by transmitting, right? By teaching, by creating my own version from it. And I noticed that I'm still not very available for taking in new models, new maps, a lot of new information. And at the same time, social media feeds you
Yeah.
a torrent of
love-
random information.
And it's medicalizing, apologizing. Hey, like, oh, it's my ADHD doing that. Oh, it's like, oh, my ADHD got worse. Like, no, you're just having like 8 or 9 hours of sleep. Disavowing, like removing responsibility for how their mind works, how their life is going through diagnosis.
Mm.
This is just pathetic. Every bad call. So wait, not own power that you have, might that to shape your reality.
Shape your reality. And yeah, good point. Labels in general. I mean, I get that diagnosis and feel it's a relief of like, oh, now I have like a grid to understand the hiccups my brain has, and now I have a label to find the others that have similar hiccups and create some sense of like belonging and community through a label. But at the end of the day, the label limits you as well.
It can function as an excuse in a way to avoid responsibility.
And disempower you.
Yeah. And it gives you a perfect excuse to like not work up. Yeah, not take responsibility. And this I feel very disempowering, and that now I get the sense of now I see why I needed to bring it up, because this is about sovereignty.
What is like circuitry sovereignty?
Well, you were authorship. Yeah.
Like self-authoring.
Yeah, and we started with kind of having like perceiving it as a dichotomy, where your authorship approach, and where it feels like I'm more like going with the impulse in the moment, or like cultivating a certain attitude, which allows me to navigate a grace and joy that leads to unexpected but desired results. And I feel like there's a synthesis. It's about sovereignty, story sovereignty. So in a way, there's the authorship way to be sovereign in your story, and there's the main character energy way to be sovereign in your own story.
The main character.
Yeah, I'm happy to be surprised by what the story will be. But also, yeah.
But the thing is, you can have it all. You know, you can play life and main character energy, which I think I also do, and I also get that a lot. But people say like, next to you, it feels like such a sidekick because you have like so strong main character energy.
It's also when like a legend.
Yeah, well, like altering my story. I'm the main character. I have a certain reality distortion field.
Yeah, literally just presence, like
presence. But then you can also play the author, like script the story that's gonna play out in your movie. You can in some way be the casting director as well. The director and like cast the characters you want to have in your story. Cast your antagonist. Cast your
like, if I'm authoring it, it doesn't feel. I feel like if I'm going to be authoring it, I don't know if I want to cast myself as the maker. Maybe I don't have quite that level of audacity.
But I do love about our flow that with you it does feel that we both have enough of main character energy. It does not feel.
Yeah, I don't feel like
you're not a sidekick to my show.
I mean, maybe I feel like I play a sidekick in your show sometimes.
You do?
But in a way it's on purpose. Or it's, you know.
Can you name those moments where you feel that you're being sidekick in my show?
Maybe right now.
Have you exhausted yourself in Berlin?
I arrived exhausted. To watch it. we made a kind of
impromptu live stream of weird tarot readings exploring Audacity.
It was actually really good. But it's
it costs something points. It costs 3 points.
Yeah, now that it's getting dark, it's like this randomly blasting me. Is there a way to put it down?
Yeah. Uh-huh. So you were saying you sometimes do feel like sidekick to my main character show.
I mean, the whole pirate paradigm is your idea. Like, I never, yeah. So, in a way, in that sense, there's already.
But you came into that story saying we've always been a pirate.
I have, but in a way, yeah, but in a way, isn't that already me, like, playing, like, joining in your paradigm? It's like, in a way, yeah, no, I don't know, but that doesn't, there's lots of ways to say stuff that doesn't, you can say it, but it's all statements are simultaneously meaningless, true and false at the same time. So, including the story, including the statement, I've always been a pirate.
It's true and meaningless. It follows and false. Well, it might be true and meaningless. That you sometimes feel like a sidekick to my main character show, but I do feel, yeah, I do feel like I've pulled you in quite a bit into my story. You've played along quite a bit into my story, and
yeah, but I might eat myself out of it again.
You might what?
Yeet myself out.
You might eat yourself out.
Yeah, YEET. Yeah. No, but I'm to a point.
To a point. And
Yeah.
I think that it's also part of what we started the other day, that it goes both ways, right? I'm also playing along with your bit of recording conversations.
How is that audio? How is that sitting with you? What are you getting out of it, or what are you feeling?
At the beginning, I was resistant to that. It felt like, fuck no, I want you just to have private conversations. I don't want this third, like this part of my brain thinking there needs to be some performance about the conversation. Let's have like authentic, flowing conversations that are not recorded, or where there's no audience or no thinking about a potential audience that at some point will hear this transmission. And there, I had, I think, a strong belief in the sanctity of the private conversation, and yeah, the authenticity that brings it. There's just like a fleeting moment in conversation, and then you made some good points, and that somehow felt convincing and true enough and resonant. Like the story you served me about, well, if you're having a smartphone carrying around all day long, you're already being recorded. So it makes sense to have your own data, and especially if sometimes all the content that's out there being listened to on the internet is going to be fed into the machine to create some like virtual avatar of you, then it makes sense in the sense of like being sovereign also of your digital avatar or your AI based avatar at some point, whatever, to have your own data set of your most authentic conversations that you can have when you record it.
Yeah.
And that was just like where my brain went, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And then I bought in. And then I still had a bit of resistance to make like all conversations recorded. And then when you arrived here yesterday, it's like, okay, before we start any conversation, let's start recording. It's like, yeah, come on, this guy again. Like, that's a bit. But then I was like, all right, like I like the idea of me inviting you into my story bit and you playing along and indulging me in my madness and me also giving you that back. of like, okay, this is part of your bit and this is part of your madness, and because I do love you, and I do want this to be a two-way relationship of not you just being cast as a sidekick to my main story, but me also participating in the madness that you're cooking up and supporting the evolution of the madness that you're cooking up to also be in service as a sidekick to your story.
Right. Is it like, are you getting something out of it? As the experiment as this experiment brought up anything for you? Like, oh, I didn't expect this to come out, or is it too soon?
It's too soon. I mean, I think there is in a way an easing into the it's like allowing conversations to be whatever they are without trying to run a script or think too much about explaining to the audience what is happening or trying to frame or reframe things for the outside. Still do that here and there, but I feel that it's getting less. I'm leaning in more to the yeah, I'm just gonna ignore that the microphone and the camera is rolling and just have a conversation with you. It's a practice, I would say. I'm getting a little bit better at not feeling. What? There's a guy, you know.
Good. But there was like, oh, I'm getting this out of it. It's too soon.
It's too soon. But I'm enjoying the process. And I do think, I mean, like when you came in and said, like, you should put like automated cameras in your like, fuck no, I don't want like my face to be like surveilled and rolled on everything I do here and everybody I talk to is like be on camera all the time. I don't want to live in a reality show.
Yeah.
Like that's your bit. And I'm happy that when you create your space and I go visit you in your bunker, I'll be participating in the reality show bit and then we can have everything we do there recorded and edited and published or live streamed or whatever. I'm happy to play along with that.
Excellent.
But I don't need to adopt
No.
living a reality show thing.
It's not for everybody.
Space. It's not for everybody. But I'm happy to indulge you when I go visit you.
Great. Well.
And last words.
Yeah, see, it feels like, yeah.
I'm unfun by the sport.
I'm finding the others.
Finding the others.
It's happening.
It's happening. We're doing it.
Yeah, and I think maybe if finding the others is a sign of achieving some sense of narrative and emotional like sovereignty. Then we're on the right path. We're on the right path. Let's see what let's see what Circuit 4 brings us.
Well, I think it's already happening with the crew. The call last night was very juicy, and the crew egregore is growing, and people are growing on each other, and people are feeling like they're belonging with the crew and having a lot of conversations with one another. So I think like the finding of the others is also a magic that Pipilanta brings to edge dwellers.
Yeah. Yeah, but I feel like how it's gonna show up in my life, like just over the course of the next week or so.
Oh yeah, you have a mission of reconnecting with all of your brilliant friends.
Yeah, and making new ones.
Making new ones.
So yeah.
I'm not saying if the ones you connected with are actually your driver.
Yeah.
So right, that was the Circuit 3 transmission. And we're navigating now to Circuit 4 waters, social navigation, and sexual orientation. And I'm very curious about that because I have an ongoing quest around that last journey. The celibacy quest that comes to. Ta-da! Well, my dears, good night and good fight. There's actually people watching, maybe. Probably fine. Oh, there's AJ joined. And Anjeha Banks joined. So that was it for tonight. See you all next week. Oh yeah, and by the way, next week we have the crossover episode.
Oh, next week we have our CCC.
Yeah, it's like a
So we have Cosmic Customer Care.
Cosmic Customer Care show with the Y Radio.
So it's going to be quite a special episode.
4 hours long with music, with music in between.
Cross streaming to Twitch, and it's going to be like next level stuff.
And you can call in to get psychedelic peer support.
Yeah, whatever that means for you.
Or tell your story.
Yeah, tell your story. It's a tarot cards. Well, it'll be interesting.
It will be interesting.
Yeah.
It will be an experiment. We're doing a lot of experiment. Yeah. So tune in next week for the special Cosmic Customer Care Hidden Treasure crossover episode here in Substack and on Twitch. And it's going to be wild. Good night. End of transmission.